Hi, pals. What is this? What's going on here? Let's not do that. Hi, it's me, Scott. Today, I worked late, and I really didn't want to. Really tried. Sorry, I'm sitting on my phone. Really tried on this new job to not work late. But here I did it. Blew it. Worked late. I did not that late, all things considered, because I did actually. I think I'm gonna try a thing for the fall as the sun sets. You know, absurdly early. After daylight saving, I am thinking I will do a thing where I work in the morning and then go outside in the afternoon while the sun is still out, and then come and work until like, I don't know, 8 or 9 every day. I'm not totally sold on this plan. Or I could like work for 4 hours in the morning and ride my bike to the shop and work for 4 hours, and then ride my bike home and work for another 4 hours. That sounds awesome, right? Maybe not so awesome. Blobz is watching Aliens right now. Okay, so I'm gonna try to do a puzzle. I'm gonna try to do a puzzle called Oil Water Renban. A new puzzle by Blobz. I should have checked with Blobz, but I figured, hey, I'll stream. It's dark outside anyway. I don't want to do any of the chores I need to do. I really want to not have a job, everyone. I just want to like make things all day. If I could just have Dream World, a workshop of my own, and every day I just go into my workshop and I make things all day, and then I leave the workshop. It's so good. Also, what if that workshop like just didn't have a computer in it? I'd probably want to stream from there or something. So anyway, let's try to do this puzzle. I know it's a Monday night. I don't know if anybody's gonna watch this, but that's okay. I've done oil and water puzzles before. I don't think I've ever seen this even odd in the corner. That's pretty cute, especially this one right here. So I am on my personal ranking of constraints. I would personally not rank Renbans super duper high. Like they're just not really my favorite. However, sometimes Renbans interact with other constraints in a way that is super cool. So we'll see. We'll see what goes on. I like that there's lots of long Renbans in here. Okay, we gotta do this thing. How do we do this? Oh, this thing. Oil and water. You think there's an oil and water shader, toy shader? Oh, he is, right? I don't know about that. What is oil? Cool. What is going on here? Okay. It's kind of interesting. Ooh, look at this one. I want one that's not going to destroy my computer. Something liquidy seems cool, but I've been dealing with liquid shaders all day, so... Look at this one, oil in the water. That is really interesting. How do you think that works? It's definitely a fractal kind of thing. It's mesmerizing. Let's do it. Let's do this one. Okay. So, the rules to this puzzle are normal Sudoku rules apply. Oops. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Pink lines contain a set of non-repeating consecutive digits in the order. That's Renban. Digits in cages do not repeat and must sum to the small clue if given. Each cage is full of oil, even digits. Full of water, odd digits, or a mix of both. In all cases, each row within a cage is of just one type, oil or water. Oil floats on water, so even digits will always be on the top, or will always be in rows above odd digits in mixed cages. So that's a place where it's like in here, if you knew there were odds and evens in here, if you knew there was one even in this cage, you would know it would be up here because it would float to the top, right? And I think rows are always of just one type, yeah. So I've certainly done oil and water ones, oil and water puzzles before, but it's been a while. So if I'm reading this correctly, this corner clue is just telling us these are 2, 4, 6, and 8, right? That seems to be the truth. This Renban is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 digits long. So it'd be pretty hard to have a 2 and an 8 on there, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, well, we still escape here. I'm not sure quite what to do with that yet. There's probably something important about that, about which 2 digits can actually be on this Renban, but I think any 3 of these, the 3 lower ones or the 3 higher ones, at least at this moment, appear that they could be. And this is every odd digit, and the odd digit that it isn't, that this is here. So this is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. And somebody's going to escape into here, someone that's not welcome on this line. So this line one, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just think about 5 on this line. There's definitely a 5, because if it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, it's required that there's a 5 on this line, right? These 3 digits see every digit on this line. True? Is that a true statement? I think that's a true statement. So if that's true, that these 3 digits see the entirety of this line, and it's required that there's a 5 on this line. There's not a 5 in there. However, this line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, also is required to have a 5 on it. Can we know about the 5 situation? I mean, in terms of which of these is a 5. We have all of our evens here. We have all of our odds in here. There's definitely a 5 in here. If there was a 5 here, there'd be a 5 here, and that'd be great for everybody. There's a 5 here, there's a 5 here. There's a 5 here, then there's a 5 up here, but not here, because we would have already had our 5 on the line and we couldn't repeat. So there's a 5 in here. Cool. That's cool. This thing about the composition of this line and or the composition of this line. But maybe I shouldn't be thinking about that. Maybe I'm supposed to be thinking, oh no, I made a mistake. Well, maybe it hasn't, I don't know, maybe it hasn't actually affected anything yet. But I've just realized, I didn't realize this cage extended down. So did that actually affect any of my decision making? It would mean that these two digits are the same. So did I actually make any decisions that would be affected by that? I'm going to just unmake a decision quickly, just in case. Although I think what that did is just place a 5 for us. But these are all evens. There are only 4 even digits. These are all even digits. There are only 4 even digits. The only digit that could repeat is this one. So this digit, that's just wrong, though. You can't repeat on a Renban. So I've misunderstood something here. I feel like I've misunderstood something. These are all even digits, right? Isn't that what this is saying? 2, 4, 6, and 8. So how could I repeat? This is definitely one cage. Each cage is full of oil, even digits full of water, odd digits are mixed with both. This appears to be full of all oil. Renbans can't repeat. What am I not understanding about the rules? Uh-oh. Oh no, and there's no one here to bail me out. I thought I was off to the races because I just did not appreciate this cage extends through here. So, how is this possible? Wait, digits and also wait a second. Also, digits and cages can't repeat, much less the digit along the Renban. So how is I must just not be understanding the rules in some way. Because there's no way this could be an even cage. That can't be what that's telling me, right? I'm going to go back for 1 second and just make sure there's nothing weird about the way the puzzle came in the Sudoku pad. No. Ooh. Okay. That is an inauspicious start. I'm going to read the rules again because I've clearly not understood something. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Pink lines contain a set of non-repeating consecutive digits in any order. That's just a Renban. Digits in cages do not repeat. There's no repetition in this cage and must sum to the small clue if given. Ah! Oh, I see. Okay, I've just misunderstood the rules. Wow, that's embarrassing. How long have we been streaming? I've fully misunderstood the rules. It needs to sum to an even number is what it's telling me. Good grief. Okay. This is going to be really bad if Blobz watches this at the start. I should warn Blobz that I have fully misunderstood the rules at the start. That's funny. I just have never seen this particular notation, but that must mean that they're supposed to sum to an odd number or an even number. That makes much more sense. Okay. Much more sense. It's normal for me to just make some giant mistake in a puzzle, so it's good to get that out of the way. Oh, I had only noticed that 11, but there is a 20 cage. There's a 23 cage with 5 digits in it. Okay. That's making more sense to me. Are these all 5 long? No, they're not. Is there any longer than 5? I don't think so. Okay. So we have to, for a cage to be even, either all of the digits are even, which is not possible here, obviously, now that I actually pay attention to the nature of this cage. Or you have an even number of odd digits. So, 3 plus 5 will equal 8, so that will be an even digit. So I could have either three evens and 2 odds, or I could have 4 odds. But I think that means that no matter what, that there's 5 digits, right? So even if I had odd and odd and odd and odd, so that it would sum to even, or if I had odd, odd, even, 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 this digit is always even, I believe. I believe this is always, we're gonna make blue. Is that weird? Oil should probably be yellow. And then we know that this is water, but we know we have to have an even number of water digits, right? Because we don't have enough even digits up here. We've got to have some oil in here. Sorry, we've got to have some water. We have to have some odd digits. I don't like something about odd digits being water. It's weird to me. So this isn't enough, right? 4 evens and an odd does not sum to something that is even. So we have to have another odd to sum that, but we can't have a mixed row. So we have to have another odd. But once we have another odd, we can't 3 odd digits sum to an odd number. So we have to have another odd to make it work. And anytime there's odd, we know there has to be at least some oil. Sorry, some water. To result in odd, there must be oddness down here. So that is also odd. We used only one of our evens in this cage, though. We're kind of running low on odds. In fact, we could use, interesting, if we try to put more water in here and we have another odd digit, suddenly this is going to sum to even, because this would be odd plus odd. This would be odd plus odd, which is even. These 3 would be even because I'm out of odds. I can't put any more odds in here. So I don't think this can be water. I think this has to be oil, which makes this water. Is that true? I'm very nervous about this now. Even must have an even number of odds in it. We couldn't do this. We had to do this, and then we had to have even on top. We know this is odd, so it has at least 1 odd digit. The bottom of an odd is always going to be water. Always. So for example, this must be water. And actually on this one, you can see if I put water here, this becomes even. But if I put 2 evens here, then it will, yes, okay. So this one too. If I put 2 waters here, this is currently even, but I'd have to put 2 waters here and it would still be even, or 2 of these and it would still be even. So this must be very oily, I think. Something is wrong. My brain does not interpret even as water. Here comes tomatoes. Uh-oh. Is that for me completely misunderstanding the rules for the first 10 minutes of the stream? I deserve that. Okay, so I believe This seems reasonable to me. So we still end up in a funny scenario wherein these are all odd digits, right? But maybe we don't quite. Because there's no repeats in this cage. So then the question is, where does this digit go in this box? But I think it actually could be in either one of those. So this digit is in one of those two places. And the other digit just isn't in this cage. These are all extremely even digits. Let's even these up. Are these helpful tomatoes, or is this vandalism? Does that mean did I miss another rule? It's hard to know sometimes. The difference between vandalism, tomato vandalism, and helpful tomatoes. So what this means, though, is we have used every even digit in here. All right, we have exhausted our supply of even digits. But this even digit must appear in this cage, so it must be here. So these digits are the same. So we'll give those like a little highlight on the bottom. ScoJo, how's it going? ScoJo, I'm extremely embarrassed. I wish you had been here. I completely misunderstood the rules for like the first 10 minutes or something like that. Like completely misunderstood. Maybe not quite that long, but. And they're not even very complicated rules. It's gonna drive Blobz crazy when he sees this. Okay, so I believe these two digits are the same even digit. I know that this line must contain a 5. And I know that this line must contain a 5. That feels complicated. Or maybe it's not complicated if I had a 5 up here. Very low on even digits in this this part of the puzzle. Just want to think about those 5s for a second. Is who gets the 5? Maybe nobody does. This line, it feels like there's some possibility in the world that this line could get a 5 here or here. Oh, aquarium? I don't know that I've ever heard of an aquarium puzzle. Does it involve bubbling to the top? I've done oil and water puzzles. The thing that I just very ridiculously did not interpret correctly was the corner notation of these cages, which I think means that the sum is supposed to be even or odd. And I just misinterpreted that at the beginning, that the nature of the composition of the cage was even or odd, which I should have seen immediately, just doesn't work. Anyway, it's embarrassing, and I'm an embarrassment. Oh, air instead of oil? I see. I've never done air. I've done oil and water. But I was just saying, even to me, water is even and oil is odd, personally. But that is not these rules. Renban, how's it going? Yeah, we're pretty much done here. It's just a formality at this point. Okay, what was I saying? I was saying about 5s. And where these two lines get their 5s, because they must have them. You've been throwing tomatoes. So how does this line not get a 5 up here? This line has to have a 5 on it. And this line's options for where it finds a 5 in the world, all see both of these, right? Like, in other words, putting a, yeah, that's the easy way to say it, I think, is that if I put a 5 on, if I put this line's 5 here, then this line is not allowed to have a 5. So I think that means that this line has to get its 5 up here. And the interesting thing about that is 5 is water. And that means this whole row is water, and that this is water as well. So that is a very wet, a very soggy cage. And that means these are not 5. And what else does that mean? Oh, my brain is definitely slow. It was a very long day. Probably not good to just go straight from that to Sudoku, but I wanted to, you know? Okay, so that's just thinking about this line's 5, although it's a little annoying. I guess we know there's a 5 in here. That much we can state, right? Because we said it couldn't be there. And it's not here. So that means there is a 5 down in the southern reaches of the world. We've used so many even digits here. So many that this has to be water on the bottom. Because 2 more even digits and we've broken the bank of evenness. We don't know anything else about that, but we know these are very wet. We know this is an odd digit, and we have stated repeatedly that odd digits are always wet at the bottom. They must be. Even digits, well, in this case, we could have 2 odds and an even. Odd, odd, even, or even, even, even. But this is always even, because what we're going to get out of here even no matter what we do. This is always even. Any 2 digits like this are always going to be even because it's even, even, or odd, odd. And we have to add to it and have an even digit in the end. So even is very oily. So that is all of our evens in this column. So the rest of this column is just soaking wet. There's no real reason for me to pencil mark that, but I have done so anyway. The humidity of this puzzle is, look at this. Is that true? This must be wet. I feel like I've made a mistake. This puzzle is too wet. That means these are all oily. And that means that's all the oilies we have here. That means these are all wet. And that means these are all oily. Does that even seem possible? Something about just the makeup of this looks not possible to me. This puzzle, or sorry, this cage must be oily, must have an oily bottom. This cage must be fully wet. This cage must have a wet bottom. This row needs some oiliness, which means this is implicitly oily. This could not be all even. I mean, even if this didn't exist, even ignoring this, This could not be fully even because we already have an even here. So at least this must be wet. And in fact, this must be wet because this can't be double oily. I'm having a grand old time. Slathering oil all over this puzzle. Do we have any other partial cages that are meaningful to us at the moment? This, I guess this could be fully oily. This is oily, or this is oily. I felt like I was on a roll for a second, a roll of oiliness, and now I'm not sure for sure. Well, if this was oily, this would be oily, and that doesn't work. So these must be wet. Don't we have some sums to think of here? I don't want to think about those yet. I wonder if I can do the whole puzzle's oiliness or wetness would be terrific. That's how I like to do. I like whether it's a coloring constraint, I really want to do the full coloring before I do anything else. But at some point I'm almost certain I'll have to think about some Renbans before finishing the coloring. But I just don't know if I think I'm at that point yet. So you have one more. I don't know. I may be running low on. Uh-oh. Okay. I saw Find My pop up. I was worried. Okay, sorry, what are we doing here? If we make this oily, this is oily, but at this moment that is a reasonable thing to happen. These could both be oily, and that would be fine. Oh, well, but they can't. If I make this wet, I've exhausted all my oddness. And if I make this wet, I've used all my oddities, but I've made this sum even, so this would be even, and this would be even. So this can't be wet. This must be oily. And that means this must be oily. And that means this must be wet. And that means this must be oily. And that means this must be wet. This is great. I'm having a great time. That means this is fully oily. And we have one more oily up here. This puzzle is disgusting. Only that there's just oil all over the place. I love the look of it, though. I'm very pleased with the colors I picked. Okay, I'm sure there's more of this to be considered, right? If I make you oily, that's all the oilies here. Well, if I make this oily, we've got major problems. We've got an oil leak. This must be wet. And these must be wet, because I've already got 3 oilies. These both could be oily though. This, if this is oily, this could be oily or wet at this moment, I think. But if this was oily, then this would have to be oily, and that's too much oil. It's too much oil in the column. I think this must be wet. Oh, and if it's wet, then this is wet, and this is oily. This is great. Blobz is too busy watching Aliens to understand. This could be oily. Well, we just need a bunch of oil up here, right? We're short on oil. Oh, it's an oily wet pear. That is an oily wet pear. That's an oily wet pear. So there is one oily in here, which is going to fill out all the oilies, which makes this wet. Which I should have known anyway, which I had a much easier way to see. But hey, these are both wet. We must sum to 23. Right now, we are even. We're going to end with 2 of something. Well, we end with 2 oilies. We end with 2 even. So to keep things odd, this must be odd. This must be oily. I think we're going to do it. I think we're going to finish all of that. It would be so disappointing if this is as far as you could get. I'll cry my eyes out. No, we need, this is double oily. This is double wet. We've got, this is done. Okay. Love it. What a joy. So we're done with the puzzle, except we haven't actually really done anything on the puzzle yet. We did start thinking about like 5s and such, perhaps prematurely. Because now we've got a bunch of dumb pencil marks that don't mean anything. Like 2, 4, 6, 8 in a cell that it can only be even is not terrifically useful. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Not terrifically useful. I'll keep the 5s. Keep these because they're slightly reduced. So, how do you do this puzzle? Two evens and an odd in an 11 page. That's 2 evens and an odd. This is not. That's 2 evens and an odd. That's 2 evens and an odd. That's 2 evens and an odd. Great. Okay. I don't know, that really helped me out much. This is 2 odds and an even, so it's not you. 2 odds and an even, 2 odds and even, 2 odds and even. So the evens are 6, 7, 8, and the odds are 5, 7, 9, I guess is what we're seeing here. So this can only be 6. Wait, sorry, the evens can only be 4, 6, 8. What did I say? 4, 6, 8. The odds can only be 5, 7, 9. meaning there's no 1, 2, or 3. Again, because we couldn't have... Wait, no, that wasn't true at all. Did I say the wrong thing? This is 2 odds and an even. Why did I say that wasn't 2 odds and an even? Unclear why I would say such a thing. 2 odds and an even. 2 odds and an even. 2 odds and an even. Odd, odd, even. Odd, odd, even. I don't know. Anyway, it just means there's no 1 or 2, I guess. So these are odds without a 1. It's obviously not a 5. And this is evens without... It's really going to mess me up. It's almost like a synesthesia thing. Synesthesia? Like I really want blue to be even. But it's not. It just isn't. So that's a 4, 6, or 8. 3, 5, 7, 9. I'm sure there's... it's going to take a while to sort of wrap my head around what are the implications of these like evens and odds on a Renban. I'm looking for one that has a ton of overlap. Or like 2 evens in a row. Because you would know it couldn't be 2, 8, for example. You don't really know which end of the Renban you're on yet, so I don't know. 23 cage has 75 million digits in it. 3 odds, 2 evens. I don't want to go through this. I'm not doing it. That feels unfun. Okay, what do we want to think about? And it feels like we've got to focus on one of these cages we know something about. I mean, I guess we kind of did have to get that 5 to start thinking about evens and odds, right? Or did we? Maybe we didn't. Maybe we didn't even have to think about that yet. Maybe that was premature. But what? All right, we were talking about where this line gets its 5, but at this moment, it sort of feels like this line's get 5 wherever it wants. I don't know that this is going to be enough. It really feels like we might have to think about the I mean, a Renban with 3 evens would be just wild. This one has 3 odds. Just hard to know which side of the 5 we would be dealing with in such a situation. We have like the tiniest bit of well, this one's sort of interesting, right? You're not helping anyone. I do know there's a 2 in here. We know these 2 digits are the same digit. We know this digit either goes here or here. We know there's a 2 in here. So there's not a 2 in here. There's definitely a 2 in here. But I don't know which line it's on, do I? This digit is this digit. Right? So that's 4, 6, or 8. This digit is this digit. Which would check out. Like the 2, there's definitely a 2 in this cage for sure. So if it was here in the cage, it would have to appear there. If that was the 2. I don't think we know that. But on these Renbans, I want there to be a 2 on there. I feel like that'd be a helpful thing in my life. But I just don't think I know that yet. I guess I know that all of these are 1, 3, 7, 9, right? I guess I know that all these are 1, 3, 7, 9. I was just thinking about that in terms of like some other Renbans needing their 5s. Well, like this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This Renban needs a 5 somewhere. And it's not from here, so it's got to be in here. Oops. So there's definitely a 5 here. So these are 1, 3, 7, 9. This Renban, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It needs a 5, but it can't get it here because we've just said this Renban has to get its 5 here. So this one's going to get a 5 here. So this is a 5. But a 5 here and a 5 here. Well, anyway, these are 1, 3, 7, 9. No. 1, 3, 7, 9. Is that true? Did I just say a true thing? How did I determine that? This needs a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 5-digit Renban. It has a 5. These are even digits. There's a 5 down here. This person also needs, this is also a 5-digit Renban. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to get its 5 over here. So this is 1, 3, 7, 9. So I think this is a 5. So this person, that means the only place, there's no 5s up here, there's no 5s here. This 5's rolled out by that 5. This 5 rolls out this, so this is a 5. So this Renban gets its 5 here, which means neither one of these is a 5. So this is a 5. And a 5 on a 4-digit Renban, you're not a 5. Nor are you. A 5 on a 4-digit Renban is a little more interesting because it's only 5, 6, 7, 8, or 5, 4, 3, 2. Meaning there's no 1 or 9 on a 4-digit Renban with a 5, right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is not a 1 or a 9. You know, all of these, 5 sees these, this 5 sees those, this 5 sees these and this. I didn't mess one of those up. This, maybe that's not true. there's no 5 in here. There's no 5 in here. So this definitely has a 9 in it. So that means this is not a 6, right? The odd digits are 3, 7, 9. And there's definitely a 9. No 9 here. And the even digits are definitely just 4, 8. So I can remove a 6 here. Oops. Remove a 6 here. That also means we remove a 6 here. So 2 and 6 are doing stuff up here. Okay, so that means, what does it mean? Still think this 5 can reach every even digit, though. Guess we know there's a 6 in here as well. That seems fine for this fellow. There's probably something here I can see, and I just am not seeing it. I'm sure there's something here where you could figure it out based on the evens and odds, but I'm not seeing it right at this moment. Going on, 5s. 5s are up in this world. Where is this digit going to get its 5? I guess it could get it here or here. Can't get it from here. Because then this row can't have a 5. If we try to make that a 5. And if we try to get a 5 from here, it's going to rule out these 2 spots, right? So that's our 5. What else do we know about 5s? That's probably not what I'm supposed to be thinking about, but what are you gonna do? So this line is going to get its 5 from one of those 2 places. Huh. It does feel like this is the part of the world we know the most stuff about right this minute. Definitely a 2 or a 6. These 3 digits appear up here. these are, it's not a useful pencil mark. It's sort of just to mark something that so I know I thought about it. This fellow needs a 5. I think it has to be there. I think. So that means 5 in this column. Sorry, in this box. Is here or here. But if you put a 5 here, this line can't ever get a 5 because it wouldn't get it there or there. So this is not a 5, right? If I try to put a 5, we said this line can only get a 5 here or here. So if I put a 5 here, that's ruined. That means the only 5 in this column is here, which gives us the 5 on that line we've wanted so badly. And that means the 5 in this column is here, which places this 5. So this fellow gets a 5, which places a 5 here. So this fellow gets a 5. We place all of our 5s, but what does that mean about anything? We definitively have a 5 in our 23 gauge, which is very exciting. There's still 75,000 other digits to put in there, but 5. We got a 5. Some of these weirdos with so many. Well, you are also the. Okay, we've thought about every blue digit. Sort of. I haven't thought about it very hard. So I feel like we need to think about the digits that have sums. That like actually show their totals. Oh boy. Even. Unsurprising. So that's 4 digits to sum to 18. Is what we're seeking in life. Seems like there's a lot of ways to do that. We rolled the 5 out of here. Who is it? Am I wrong about this? Is it not about that? These 2 digits are the same. We could think more about that kind of thing. I don't know if that's tremendously useful. A lone tomato tossed off. A second tomato follows. A volley follows. Do I know enough about any of these to actually start having thoughts and opinions? Like the 4 or 8 is not interesting. Right? That's a lot of leeway. And it doesn't necessarily like force a 6 or whatever. A 3 would force a 4. That would be cool. 2 would force a 3. So digits are the same. Is it important to think about, I guess we haven't really thought about this yet, like 5 digits will always, it always has a 5. I'm just thinking about it's like where things fall on that line in terms of for example, this, the composition of this, there's 2. Yeah, that feels important. To have 3 evens. Because if I have 5 digits and I manage to hit 3 even numbers, then what does that mean? That means well, for example, like could this be a 9? Because that would make it 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, right? But 9, 8, 7, 6, 5 is only 2 even digits. So I think that this cannot be a 9. Also, did I pencil mark a 9? Loss of, I guess because it's in a cage. But I think that means this can't be a 9. Because how would I hit 3 even digits? Would it be like 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 or something? Anyway, did I just remove a 9 and then put it right back? I think that means this is an, okay, that this is a 9. I hope that's true. Pretty sad. It wasn't. So there's definitely a 9, and that 9 is going to pair with 3, 8, 4, 7. Terrific. Very useful. But that is kind of useful, isn't it? What does this say about 4s and 6s? Like if I have to take 3 digits, I'm obviously leaving out one of the extreme ones. Like I have to leave out 2 or 8 because I can't have both. But if I have 3, then I definitely have 4 and 6, right? So I have 5 and just say 4 and 6. I don't know where it is. So I'm going to have 5 and 4 and 6 on both sides of it. And then I'm going to have one more odd digit, which is 3 or 7, depending on the direction we're going. And then I'm going to have one more even, which is going to be 2 or 8, depending on the direction we're going. So this line definitely has 4 and 6 on it. But I don't know if that's meaningful to me right this minute. So is there something else I was supposed to understand here? So we've knocked 9 around a little bit. Any restrictions on this one? Is this the only 5 that has a double even? Or sorry, the only 5-cell Renban that has a double even? Sorry, triple even? That feels pretty important. Good edge. So what? Just like one smidge away from being restrictive enough. So, is this meaningful? Like this. What does it mean to have this 4 or this 8 on here for the other even digit? If I have an 8, then this is definitely a 6. It's also true here that if this is an 8, this has to be a 6. And that would make this a 2-4 pair, and this a 2-4 pair. So this would be 2, 4, 8. So this would be a 6, and this would be a 6, and this would be 2, 4, 8. Jacqueline, I was thinking the exact same thing. It really, or like a solo cup, or not a solo cup, the other cups, those jazzy cups. How's it going, buddy? I'm not doing very well in this puzzle, but I'm enjoying it. I had a great time coloring it. Now I'm a little stuck on what is the next choice to make in my life. I can definitely, it would be so cool if this was an 8. If it was a 4, it would kind of suck. If it was an 8, this would also be a 7. Well, 9's never on this line, though. Maybe that doesn't matter. Oh, but you know what probably does matter is that 9 is not on this line. That probably matters a lot. That's not a 9. These two digits are not a 9. This is not a 9. So, the best we could do is... I think we can't escape having a 4 and a 6 on this line. Did we already talk about it? I know we talked about it over here, but we didn't talk about it over here. Because by not having a 9, previously it could have been like 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5 is the only certainty. by not having a 9, it's still true that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if we never have a 9, it could only be something like 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. That means there's always a 4 on this line. This is great. This is great. This is what I want. There's always a 4 on this line because there's never a 9 on this line. And that's going to force both of these to be 8. And we already talked about all the implications of that. Wait, did I do that wrong, ScoJo? I was thinking more about the implications of the 4. Was that incorrect? Because now I've been pushed into 4-ness here. And I think that's gonna force the 8s, which we already said is now this 5 has to get to this 8 somehow, and it can only do that by passing through 6. And I think we said the same thing was gonna happen over here, right? Like this 5 has to get to 8, and there's an even number in the way, which is gonna make this a 4-6 pair. Oops, sorry, I mean a 2-4 pair. Make this a 2-4 pair. Make this a 6, and make this 2-4-8. Very exciting. It's tremendously exciting. So, right, there's a 2 on this line. So how am I going to get to a 2 without a 3? So I must have a 3 down here. Maybe that's what ScoJo was trying to tell me. I must have a 3 down here. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. Okay. I was just thinking about evens. I don't know. Yes, to get to this 2, this 5 must communicate with this 2 via this 3, which is going to, I feel like that has a lot of implications, not the least of which is here, but that means the 3 down here is going to remove the possibility of a 3 from all of those places. So we're going to force a 7 here. So we get our first complete Renban. This is going to be a 1-3 pair. So this is just now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So the 1 is not here. So in there. Which pulls this pretty low. This 1 or 3 oh, this doesn't have a 5 on it at all. Okay, we'll think about that in a second. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything down here. We have a 7-9 pair. 7 in there. Oh, I thought I screwed this up. Okay, the math checks out. For some reason, that like looked to me like it wasn't correct. I don't know what was messing me up. This does indeed sum to 20, which removes 3s from here. So this is a 5, 6, 7, 8 Renban. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Renban. This is a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Renban. And this Renban is TBD, but it has a very low digit on it. And that makes it seem like it's going to be real hard. Like, even if this was a 3, the highest we could count is, well, we can't count that high because we can't have a 5. So, can this be anything other than 1, 2, 3, 4? I mean, not having a 5 with a 4-digit Renban either means it's above or below 5 entirely, and this forces it to be below, I think. So we remove the 7, 9 here and remove the 8 here, which places that 8. So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4 Renban, and this 1, 3 pair takes care of that. You have that 1, 3 pair, 7, 9. I'm very nervous that I'm making mistakes here. I don't remember anything we said about this side of the world. We already knew we had a 4 and a 6 here, but now we know it's the 3 that is the low side of that. Right. So, well, I just don't know where they go, but how could we get to 8 now? So we need 3 even digits and we can't have 8. So that's 2, 4, 6. Did we learn anything about anybody else? One or 7. It's not cool. I feel like I've missed something in the middle column. Those ended up the same, and those ended up the same. That was an important thing to happen in our lives. Maybe we got it. There's no 1 here, 3 here, so we get a 7, 9 pair up in the sky. But that doesn't really help our Renban situation. Okay, do we have any more? Can we do better than this? 2, 4, 6. Yeah, we can. Because this is not an 8, and these aren't 8s. This is just an 8. That was a 2, 4, 6. That's not a 6 because of that guy. So that means 8's in here. That means 8's up here, so that's an 8. That seems like that's an 8. Which I was about to say maybe had some implications on that. Anyway, this 8 means that what? Means we can't have a 2 here. An 8 on this Renban means there's definitely well, there's just, this has to be 6. We get a 2, 4 pair here and a 6, 8 pair here. So that's not a 6. A 2, 4 pair here, so that is a 6. That's not a 6. We need the other half of the 2, 4 here. We have 6 and 8. So we're not getting to 1, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, or 3. That's cool the way those pairs emerge from that. I really like that. Very nice. So this is another 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Feels like there's more to do there. Excuse me. So you're a 2, 4. This is not a 6. It's also a 2 or 4. I guess this still could be a 6 to pull it a little higher. It's really good. I like it. This is a fun puzzle. It was fun just filling out the colors. I was saying at the start, I like Renbans on their own. I don't like Renbans on their own. And I was saying, like, I really don't like Renbans unless there's another variant that is causing the Renbans to be interesting. And I think this is a great example of that, of the way the even odd parity is affecting the the Renbans. I really like that. Renbans to me always need like another ingredient, you know? You don't want to make a puzzle that's just all Renbans. Nobody wants that. Okay, I'm getting distracted. By myself. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm distracting myself because that's just kind of what I do. So there's 8. I just wanted to think about 8s with this, but okay. We know this Renban. We know what's going on. Most of these Renbans, we know the nature of them. We don't yet know the nature of these 2 Renbans. Oh yeah, we haven't thought about this in a while, have we? What important conclusion am I supposed to be drawing here? It's 5 and 6, and there's not 8. I don't know what else to say to you right now. I'm sure that there's probably something there. I just don't want to think about it. 1 or 7. I don't think we can have a 7 in here. We eliminated the 7 because the 7 only appears if it's triple odd. It's definitely not triple odd, it's an odd and 2 evens. So that's probably been there for 1,000 years. That this is the 1. Oops. This is the 1 and this is the 7. Oh no, did heat break? Heat's probably broken. Wait, it's working for me. Sometimes I think you just have to refresh. That's bad news. If ScoJo is talking about heat, that means there's some obvious thing. That's code for you're missing something. Okay, we got a 7 here, which means we need a 6. We have a 3 or a 9. We have 2 evens to go through. One of these is a 6. Have a 4 either way. Okay. So, okay. I'm assuming that means I'm missing something important in this part of the grid. Yeah, it's working now as thousands of tomatoes fly into one spot. Okay, what? Sorry, what? Do what now? Oh, this 179 triple that I completely ignored. Is that what you're throwing tomatoes at? That seems relevant. Thanks, ScoJo. How could you expect me to see a triple that's also a color? It's not even possible. That probably narrows this down up to 2 and 7. So the 4, 2, 4. Well, that had wide-reaching implications. 2, 4 is fine. 23 there, 20 there. Everything appears nominal. I mean, this is just ridiculous now. One day, maybe I'll take off the training wheels, but I know I'll just make mistakes. The training wheels are here for expediency and to help me not make mistakes. Okay. Well, that was great. That went all over the whole grid. This line has 5, 7, and 9 on it, so feels like we're gonna have to get a 6 and an 8 on here. 5 is only getting to 9 by going through 6 and 8. Which makes this also 2, 4, but it sees the 4, so that's a 2. So that's a 6 and a 2. And here a 4. Oh, look at all this. I'm barely even having to think about Sudoku. This is so good. What a good puzzle. I barely thought about Sudoku at all, except for when ScoJo forced me to. I think it's two very related things. One is it's like the boring part of Sudoku to me is the Sudoku part, and so I'm just not that interested in that part of it. I will there are puzzles where I do turn certain things on or off because I feel like they're like ruining the spirit of the puzzle. Like there's been some cage puzzles where just having the sums readily available just like trivializes it, like you're not even thinking about anything. So I do turn off some things occasionally, but the red digits I leave on definitely on stream. Okay, what are we doing here? We don't have a 2 here anymore, so this is just 1, 4, 6, which would make sense, I guess, because if that's a 1, I have to make 10 in 2 digits. I don't have a 2. It's got to be a 6, 4, which is going to force that to be an 8. And these are quite known to us. And that's an 8, and that's a 2. And let me unravel these. Oh, what a beautifully fluid puzzle. Oh, wait, what did I miss? Oh, right, I didn't disambiguate. That's funny. Okay. We already have a 3 here. That's a 1. I thought I was done. I wasn't done at all. 1, 3 is a digit, right? Okay. What a good puzzle. Oh, really enjoyed that. Thanks. Yeah, that was. I had a somewhat stressful work day, let's say, and I was hoping to escape through the world of Sudoku, and this puzzle afforded me such an escape. This puzzle, very nice. Okay, first I have to tell Blobz. Okay, another banger by Blobz. Hit after hit after hit. ScoJo, while I have you here, if you have a moment, I was thinking about what we talked about. I think unfortunately I did play with it a little bit. 2 problems. 1, I don't know what I'm doing. And 2, there's not quite enough digits in the sequence to do the thing that I wanted to do, which was avoid box 8 entirely. And I think it would mean some kind of gross rules. The issue being is we have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You can't visit all boxes except for box 8 with only 15 digits without doing something gross in a corner. Meaning like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You'd have to like, your snake would have to fold over on itself, which I didn't like that idea. But I liked the idea because, as I said, in that note sequence, the 8th digit is skipped. Oh, if you pass through a K, oh, that would be kind of interesting. To skip, you would. So your line would go through every cage, but you would skip. You wouldn't play the note in the sequence that was in the skipped cage. Ooh, that's interesting. How would that work out? So that digit is. So we basically just put a sour note in the string on purpose, and then you would have to skip the sour note. I see. So you'd go through, you'd only count them in a cage. So you think we just ignore the... I like the 8 thing though, but I don't exactly know how to do that unless it's... it just feels so fortuitous that there's no 8. I misunderstood what you said a second ago. I was thinking that like you would have the line. So, okay, here's what I understood you to say, which is not what you said at all, because you said cage and I was thinking box. I was thinking that the line passes through like this or something, but this is a sour note. You're not supposed to hit it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's too many, but you know what I mean? Like that you would deliberately have a sour note. It's hard to see how you do that without like starting or ending. I feel like you'd have to start in the sour note box. By avoiding box 8 by just doing the cage thing, where you would kind of like, the line would end up being something sort of like whatever, like this or something, or like whatever it ends up being, but like you just have gaps in the line essentially to get to 15 digits. Did you throw a right, they would just be digits not within cages. And how do you know that those are the proper cages? I don't know, Jacqueline. I've never used this software before. I don't know what I'm doing. In other words, like, how do you know that a given cage is valid? The one answer that I like was initially was like, oh, it just can't have an 8 because 8 is a sour note, so that's a sour cage. But there's not enough 8s to go around, really. I don't think. Start drawing some killer cages. 2 left quadruples. Oh, I see. Any cage containing the sour digit must be avoided by the path. And all other cages must be part of the path. Okay. And do you think the line must visit every, like I've ruled out box 1 here, but I didn't really mean to. Oops. Oh no, my beautiful cage is lost. Just one square cage, or does like every box have a square cage that contains an 8? I don't think I'm understanding. I feel like you should be driving because you know what you're doing. And also, I don't know that we have to do all this tonight. I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. Oops. Definitely don't know what I'm doing. Just drawing pictures. The reason I chose the 8, and maybe there's another way to do the indexing, is that it's the actually we could talk about that. But if you start with the I gotta think about what was missing. Can't remember right off the top of my head. I think it is so here's how I was thinking of indexing, which is another part of the rules that is not well considered. But basically, there's a range of 9 notes that you use to play this song, right? And the first note is a B. And then it's, well, sorry, the lowest note that you ever visit is a B. So that's the low end of where you're playing. And so that's where I started counting. Just do, come on. So it is, lowest note to highest note is how I was imagining the indexing, starting here, which is not good, really. It's not a very standard way. You would normally think of C as the root, but then you'd have to sort of go negative. So you need some rule for sort of transposing your digits to here. And it would be fairly standard to say, be more standard, I guess. But this B, I think, is not in this sequence. So let me actually make sure that this scribbled notepad note is, oh no, our private conversation. Let's see. To the A. So in that sequence, this is the sour note. So counting from where you start, it's the 8th note. What's funny is it's not really a sour note because it's in C major. It's just not the right note. You know, it's just the wrong note. Because that would, what would that sound like? That would be like, very, very Looney Tunes. Not as bad as if it was an accidental, but so it would be counting from C as the root, which would be sort of standard. It would be the 7th note. Counting from where you start playing, it would be the 8th note. Doing something very silly like saying that a lowercase b looks like a 6. You could say it was the 6th, but it's trying to think of a way, because I'm still not exactly sure like what the rules are that are going to tell you to start here on the keyboard. Or sorry, start here on the keyboard. I was kind of imagining that would be a rule in the puzzle as well. Or, you know, like something that would indicate to you like, hey, start here. What was your idea of making it work with 6? I mean, 7 is also... 7 would be reasonable as well, I think. I think you could make a case for 7, but... it'd be pretty easy to avoid 7, right? Oh, I see. If we did this, well, I don't know, is that too obvious? I'm just thinking through this because there's something I like about the idea of the note sequence being contiguous. But that's not really as attractive in terms of cage rules, right? What's your other idea? I still am really confused about how to tell you to index where to start playing on the piano. Two 17 cages. Oh, to exclude the 8, because you'd have to have an 8 to get through. And then a square 14 cage can't have an 8. Is that true? Now I'm hung up on the 7 versus 8 thing, because that is an inelegant. Oh, I see. Right, 8 plus 1, 2, 3. So just to think for a second of a non-cage idea that just crossed my mind, and maybe I don't know if it's even viable. Would be I still don't know how to tell you how to get there, but if the idea is that there's a sour note and that's both a digit you must avoid and a cage you must avoid when making your snake, what set of rules we already screwed the snake up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, wait, I screwed up the snake. How did I do this a second ago? I feel like I just did this. Oh, maybe I went kind of that would be 15. Yeah. So something like I've got to avoid box 7. I think box 7 is as justifiable as 8 in terms of it being it. And then I also have to avoid 7s. So what I was just trying to imagine is something like 7s making you turn or something, or I don't know how to do anything. How do I draw a line? Oh no. So like, I liked my previous line better actually. Can I not edit this line? That's lame. I was kind of trying to imagine a setup where you had to like physically avoid these sour notes. Like, how do I stop this? How do I not be doing this anymore? I don't know how to work this software. Okay, got it. Sorry. Oh, that one might have been a better idea. I was just thinking something of like, I hit this digit, so I have to turn. I hit this digit, so I have to turn. I hit this digit, so I have to turn. I have to turn. You know, something like that. Like, not only can this line not contain digits, but it's forcing me to like only turn when I encounter them, basically. That might be an insane rule set. Maybe it's, I'm sure this is way easier if we go with your thought of using cages. How do you know which way to turn? Like, how do you know how to turn? How do you know to turn left or right? I guess it would also be good if the thing that terminated it was hitting the sour box, basically. That like hitting box. So we would like transpose this such that this ending was actually hitting the box. I was just way overthinking things about the. How do you know? Do you think the start and ends are given? Yeah. So you say, for example, you have a start and an end here, and you must visit every box except for the sour box. Anytime you hit a sour note, you must turn. And, right, like saying this is a cage, the turn is very forced. Well, wherever the 7 is, right? You don't even literally have to hit the 7. You just have to. Is that what you're saying? Like we would still use cages to cage you in and. Sounds pretty good. And you have to determine the sour note, which is also the sour box. So you have to figure out that there's a certain box you can't enter and that you can never enter a cage that also contains that digit. I know it's getting, well, that's almost all there is to it, right? Is it fair to say that? Like, if it really is, there's the digits 1 to 9 represent notes in a musical sequence. One of those digits is a sour note. And then the rules are basically, we don't even have to tell you to turn, right? You can just be forced to turn. The rules are basically construct a line such that you never enter a cage containing the sour note, which is maybe good enough if we just forget the whole box thing. I would kind of want a reason for avoiding one of the boxes, but it doesn't matter that much. That feels helpful in constructing the line, though, to kind of know that you don't have to enter every box. Like that, it might be helpful to construct the line. So it's like construct a line such that, 1, you never enter a cage containing the sour digit. 2, you never enter the sour digits box. That feels like a relatively short rule set. Ignoring the whole problem of how do we tell you where to start on the keyboard, especially if the sour note is 7 and not 8. But it seems relatively easy to construct cages, you know, some 7 cages that just force you. The only thing I don't like about 8, and maybe I'm just too hung up on it, is I like a contiguous line. And I don't think you can have a contiguous line in a void box. Avoid a like edge box. I think 7's more appropriate. That's more like a real notation. Like, that's the index within the scale. There's a word for that. What's ChatGPT say? Degree. It's called its degree. So this notation would use a standard musical, like a standard notation of a degree, whereas the other one was not. It was just like the index relative to a starting point, which is problem here, though, is that the B, ugh. Well, but here's the problem. Oh man, I don't think this works. It's hard to communicate because there is a B in this sequence. The song starts on B. It just doesn't happen to include the B up 1 octave. So maybe 7's lame. But your proposal is totally valid. It's just that the snake passes through cages, but you only digits within the cages count as the That is an extra rule, though. Is that like, that is one more rule. just looking at the sequence, wondering if it's like any other rules would be no, that you, and it's unfortunately a stretch musically just because of where it starts, basically. You know, just that it like starting on a B and it just not including the next B, which I think is fine. I think there's a way to write that. It just feels like it's a verbose description. But if you index, if 7 is the sour note, you can no longer justify that particular thinking. I was just looking at the line trying to decide if there was like accidentally some other good rules. But oh, I have to, right, of course. Whatever I do, whatever we do, has to also factor in that there are lots of potential for repeated digits at the end, which I didn't account for at all. So the disjoint, like disconnected cages could certainly help with that. Avoid some of these repetition moments, because surely my current line doesn't magically do that. Can I not put, wait, oh. This black line is really working well. Yeah, this would be two twos. Yeah, so this, I think this is not good. I think your other suggestion is better. I think so we avoid 8, we avoid box 8. We somehow tell you to start on B. Okay, it's getting late. I should definitely stop streaming. Okay, I want to think about this though. I feel like we made some good progress. I like the idea. I like the cages sort of locking you out of places. Other cages are good cages. I think that helps kind of guide where the path goes. We can avoid box 8 if we keep it kind of long. We can try your double 17 trick. Okay, I'm not saving anything because it was all nonsense. Oops. No, it's true. I have some, of course, my fantasy is that Simon would want to solve it just because it has the cute little shout out. But of course, it doesn't need to be that hard. Yeah, it would be much easier for me to set a 1-star puzzle, I'm sure, for my first puzzle than for my first puzzle try to have a very hard puzzle. But, you know, I have a good imagination. I'm just imagining. Did he really? What was it? I didn't watch today. Checking. Oh, look at all those circles everywhere. Oh, it's a 14-minute video. Okay. Okay, you're right, but that's fair. It's like, it doesn't have to be that hard. It could be cute. It could be a little bite-sized cute thing, and then you play it on your piano. That's the thing that I really do want to put a little more thought into. I agree with the rules you proposed seem like a very reasonable approach to this, and I can certainly imagine more musical Sudoku puzzles. Oh, you know what? That is whatever it is. Sonata number 16. So 16 could be an interesting thing to think about. But anyway, the thing I was going to say is like the thing that really needs more thought is how to communicate. Like, how do you get from the puzzle to the piano in a way that is like sane? Or, you know, doesn't feel like a huge stretch. Especially because it spans 2 octaves. In an awkward way. Okay, I'm really stopping. ScoJo, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for talking through that. Thanks for the tomato support. And yeah, I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna have dreams. Jacqueline, you're still here. I had no idea. Jacqueline, my dear friend. Jacqueline, I miss you. When are you gonna come up and see the Swifts? It's amazing. It's a sight to behold. Okay, I'm really leaving. Good night. Thanks.